have the pleasure of spending time with these experts from around the world researching spirituality. I would sit down with them for hours at a time, asking them questions after question. Just like my guides, I was relentless. Spirituality has many different modalities. Some I didn't even know existed. So I listened, I filmed, I asked more questions. A common theme I began to hear was connecting to Source or going within. Today I'd like to talk about thinning the veil. What is thinning the veil? Thinning the veil is making a change in one's life to communicate with the afterlife. All of my research has helped me understand several different ways to communicate with loved ones that have transitioned. I'd like to start out talking about mediums first. Almost every one of the mediums I have sat down with say that they have developed their abilities by doing years of practice. Yes, there are ones that are born with this ability. However, I believe they either develop these abilities in another life or of a result of a spiritually transformative experience, perhaps in this life. There are a number of parents that are actually communicating with their children that have transitioned. I've sat with them, observed them, asked them again questions and questions. What I've noticed of the ones that are communicating all shared a similar trait. Now, of these parents that were the most successful in communication were parents that have somehow managed to get a control on their emotions. I understand that as a big statement, and it's easier said than done. I'd like to talk to you about the principles of energy. Emotions such as anger, fear, sadness, depression, regret, they all emit a heavy or a low frequency. You have to understand that your child resides in a place of a very high frequency. Earth is thick like mud, and the afterlife is more like air. Now, some say this veil is like a wall, and it's difficult to get past. The trick is to raise your frequency to do what I call the thinning of the veil. That's what mediums basically do. They thin the veil and they bridge the gap between Earth and the afterlife. Now, when you lose a child, emotions like anger, fear, sadness, regret, these become very real and very powerful. Very powerful at lowering your vibration, similar to a stone wall. Am I telling you to get over your anger? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is to consider surrounding that anger with love. Every time you feel this anger arising, ask yourself, why am I feeling this anger? Is it doing me any good? Can I nurture it in love? Can I? Could I nurture it in love? You see, anger needs love. If you can do this, kudos to you, but be patient with yourself. The last thing you want to do is to be hard on yourself. God loves you. Your child loves you. You have every right to love yourself. Now it's just a question of dealing with the next negative emotion that you may be expressing. It's shifting that fear now into trust, shifting that guilt into forgiving yourself or someone else. Some of these negative emotions can be very challenging, sometimes scary or painful, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. I also understand that there is a time to grieve, and everyone grieves at different times and speeds. How long should you grieve? You're the best judge of it. It's entirely up to you. But I want you to think about one thing. Your child wants you to be happy. Your child wants you to experience joy again. There's also another reason why your child wants you to live a joyful life. It's because the emotions that come with joy, kindness, love, compassion, courage, empathy, these all raise your frequency. Again, thinning the veil and crumbling that stone wall between us and them. Now, another thing I've noticed, and I believe this is important, is to give thanks for any communication that you may get. Always remember to give thanks to Spirit for their communication. Again, giving thanks in turn opens up the lines of communication for future visitations. Think of it as an intent. In the 4th episode, I sat down with student mediums. Meditation, kindness, love all played a part in their connecting. Developing these life changes were key to their success. But something I almost overlooked amazed me. The 6th episode, I talked with 15 people that died and came back. Again, my persistence kicked in. And what I found in common with these enlightened souls was a key theme. These people left their body and went beyond the veil. They saw it from the other side. When you are actually there, in that space, you become a witness to the afterlife and its love. Yes, there is an indescribable amount of love, non-judgment, and kindness. But here's the kicker. When they came back, one thing was clear. They had an instant download of trust. So here they are back in their body on Earth. They all feel loved and now have a complete trust in themselves and the divine. I'm telling you this because they now have what experts call after effects. They are instantly transformed because they've seen it, felt it firsthand. This spiritually transformative experience has raised their frequency from now on. Their abilities have instantly improved. Now please, don't get me wrong. Mediums are wonderful for introducing you to what's beyond the veil. But by continually seeking mediums beyond a reasonable amount, can begin to tell the universe that you don't trust yourself. We all have it in us to connect directly to the divine. God gave it to each and every one of us, and you're not the exception. You have this connection. Exercise it.